So, hallo, herzlich willkommen zurück zu Let's Play Zero Escape, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Ich setze mich kurz etwas bequemer hin und dann können wir auch direkt mit der Aufnahme loslegen. Und was soll ich sagen? Es wird interessant, weil wir jetzt ein anderes, also hier an dieser Stelle was freigeschaltet haben, sodass dass der Verlauf anders ist. Jetzt hat Clover keinen Grund, alle Leute mit einer Axt abzuschlachten. Also, they stepped out of the captain's quarters and into another hallway. The hallway stretched out in front of Junpei for a bit before turning left, like a great backward L. Ja, der Anfang ist gleich, ich glaube, da kann ich auch was überspringen. Ja. Ja. Die Karte, das kennen wir alles. Was danach kommt, wird anders. Sie hat tatsächlich auch noch was in der Tasche. Aber jetzt sagt sie, was sie hat. So you've got something in your pocket, what is it? Oh, this? This is... Ja, jetzt sagt sie es, anstatt einfach weiter zu rennen. A note.
A note?
Yeah, I found it in the pocket of the guy with the captain's clothes. It said something about the darkness of the sinister hand or something.
What the hell? Let me see it.
No, not right.
But Junpei wasn't going to get to see it. From the other end of the hall, he heard Ace's voice.
Hey, Junpei, Clover! What are you two doing? Hurry up!
He's getting mad.
Clover shrugged.
I'll show it to you later, all right? Come on, we gotta hurry.
Before Junpei could protest, she was gone. Round the corner and off down the long stem of the L. A note? A note. Junpei was curious. But there was something else that bothered him.
From the look of that pocket, it doesn't particularly look like just a note. Jeez, what are you thinking? For crying out loud.
Junpei did his best to convince himself that it would make sense later and ran off after Clover. Wie man sieht, diesmal hat sie die Axt nicht dabei. Es ist kein Holzstück, das sie da irgendwie beim Nacken rausragt. Junpei pushed through the door and found himself in a large room with a large set of stairs.
The big stairs. So this is where it ends up. Just like it says on the map.
It was just what he expected to see after reading the map. His "I see" after reading the map himself meant that Ace had probably realized the same thing.
Ace, did he head down?
He put his hands on the handrail and leaned over to look down.
Oh, there he is.
Look, the 4 others are there too.
And not just Ace, Santa, June, Seven, and Lotus as well.
Really?
Let's join them.
Junpei and Clover glanced at each other and hurried down the stairs. They reached B deck at the same time.
Jumpy, Clover!
Junes face was excited. Ja gut, eigentlich kennen wir diese Stelle auch, aber da möchte ich jetzt nicht skippen, weil ich finde, das wird jetzt den Fluss unterbrechen. Something had happened, that much Junpei could tell by simply looking at her.
What's up?
Given their situation, he was not inclined to be excited about sudden developments. June, however, couldn't contain herself.
We found it!
Found what?
We found it!
What did you find?
The last door! We found door 9!
What?
Come on! Just follow us! We'll explain on the way!
Okay.
Seven turned and jogged off down the stairs.
Well, if that's the case...
Wait for me.
We should get going as well.
The rest followed.
Jumpy! We finally made it!
The relief and excitement in her voice echoed with what each of them felt.
Yeah, it's finally time.
Junpei wasn't quite ready to believe they'd really done it, at least not just yet. Still, if everyone said it was door 9, then it probably was.
We've reached the end.
He could feel his heart racing. A mixture of anticipation and fear ran through his veins, and he could feel his legs shaking. He was doing his best to maintain a sense of healthy skepticism, but he couldn't deny that the prospect of escape was an exciting one.
Something's bothering me. Only 3 to 5 people can go through the numbered door. 7 of us are on our way to door 9. That means that, best case scenario, there will be 2 of us who have to stay behind. 2 people. Is there a way?
Junpei looked over at the clock.
4:30. We've only got 90 minutes left. I've got no time to wonder about it now.
Hey, Junpei! June! What the hell are you two doing? Hurry it up!
Santa's voice jolted Junpei out of his reverie.
Let's go, Jumpy!
June took off down the stairs, jogging as quickly as she could.
Yeah.
Junpei followed. Und wie ihr seht, dieses Mal meldet sich nicht Clover und sagt, wir sollten noch die Tür, die wir nicht betrachtet haben, durchstöbern. Weil sie halt keine Mordpläne hat. As a group, they piled onto the elevator and rode impatiently down to E-Deck. It looked familiar. There was a metal grate between the 2 elevators. Seven grabbed hold of it and began to talk.
I know I told you I'd explain it earlier, but honestly, there ain't much to explain. After we split off from you guys, the 4 of us got into the elevator on the left, and it took us to the other side of the grate. After that, we headed down another hallway. It took us toward the bow and eventually to the number 6 that you 2 found earlier. We opened it and kept going. There was another locked door behind it, like usual, but this time we had to complete 2 different areas before we could unlock it. Once we were through that door, there was another hallway that went the other direction, toward the stern.
So, on your way, you found the elevator.
That's right.
So, in other words, you kinda did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side.
Yeah.
With that settled, Junpei looked around.
So, where's the number 9 door?
Over here. Follow me.
Seven began walking down the hallway that led toward the stern. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with him.
By the way,
They had been walking for a while, June in silence... Ach nee, noch von. They had been walking for a while, June in silence stepped with Junpei when she spoke.
you know, it's because of Santa that we're all here right now.
Huh?
That all 7 of us are going to door 9.
What?
You don't get it? Santa, 7, and Lotus. What's their digital root?
3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
9. It's 9.
That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they'd wanted to.
But they didn't.
Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said, we can't leave June and the others behind. That's why we went looking for you guys.
And then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase.
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't have called that one. That Santa would be the one to stick up for you. I mean...
Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Perhaps June had sensed Junpei's concern.
I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it, and Santa objected to it first.
Is that so?
Junpei was about to respond when 7 suddenly stopped.
We're here.
In front of them stood a door.
So, is this...
Yeah.
Junpei couldn't see 7's face, but he could see him nod.
There's no other place for us to go.
Nope. Just look around. There's a big old iron wall at the end of the hallway. The other hallways on the left and right are blocked by metal grates.
I see.
It looked as though 7 was right. The door in front of them was their only choice.
All right, let's get moving.
He pulled open the door and walked in. Kann sein, dass ihr gerade den Krankenwagen vorbeifahren hört. Ich glaube, ich trinke mal kurz einen Schluck. Ich habe hier noch was zu trinken stehen. So, und rein. Junpei took a deep breath and followed. It appeared they'd been telling the truth.
No way.
The first thing Junpei saw as he entered the room was the number. 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing made of red paint. The door it decorated sat on the back wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it.
The 9 door.
It was a large double door with powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic and made the red paint look especially garish.
We're finally here.
Junpei grabbed the handle and shook. It didn't budge, but then he hadn't really expected it to. The red was bolted on the wall next to the door. Its display read vacant.
No doubt about it. This is door 9. Oh, finally! This is the last.
Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. He felt a chill down his back and his chest tightened even as his blood began to boil. There was a moment of complete silence.
Junpei, look behind you.
He turned around.
Behind? What?
Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw.
Why? A door and a 9. There's another one?
Im Grunde kennen wir das ja auch schon. Wir kennen diesen Raum ja auch schon aus dem Messerende. Oder Knife-End würde ich es eigentlich lieber nennen, weil das Spiel es so nennt. Es klingt für mich irgendwie natürlicher. Also, ja, wir wissen, es gibt noch eine andere Tür. Und letztes Mal konnten wir nicht durch diese Türen gehen, weil irgendjemand uns gemeuchelt hat.
Hey, what the hell? What the hell is going on here?
His words came slowly and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door set parallel to the door they'd come through, but in the other corner of the room. 9. There was no mistaking the number, and if any more proof was needed, a red was bolted to the wall near the door.
There's a red there too. That means... And of course it won't open.
He grabbed the handle and shook the door, not because he expected it to open, but because he had to make sure it was real.
But why? Why the hell are there 2 doors?
It was Ace who spoke first.
Do you think perhaps one is the right door and the other is the wrong one?
Lotus was skeptical.
I don't know about that. It seems unlikely.
What makes you say so?
Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far. They're full of puzzles, but there are always hints about how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms where we just had to go with our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck?
Then you're saying there's some sort of hint in this room.
No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was in here before. I didn't find anything that might have been a hint, though.
Well then, that means...
Yeah, both of these are the right door. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it.
It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Junpei began to mutter to himself.
So if there are 2 number 9 doors, if we split it up right?
That's not gonna work.
Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her hand.
You've got a notebook and a pen, right? Can I borrow them?
Yeah, here.
Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her.
Look at this.
Clover opened the notebook and a blank page and sat it down on the desk. Wenn sie sich selbst darauf setzt. Everyone else gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers.
You get it? The numbers on the top are all the combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are the people who don't fit. There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So...
If 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 go through, then 3 are left behind, right?
yeah.
Clover nodded, almost as if she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem.
No way.
Das ist das Problem mit Quersummen. Jede durch 9 teilbare Zahl hat eine Quersumme von 9 und umgekehrt. Also jede Zahl, deren Quersumme durch 9 teilbar ist, ist selbst durch 9 teilbar. Wenn wir aber jetzt die Gesamtsumme der Leute betrachten, wären alle da, oder es würde schon reichen, wenn Snake da wäre. Sie haben einfach 7 zu viel. Mit anderen Worten, man könnte theoretisch durch, wenn man 7 zurücklässt. Allerdings wären man dann 6 Leute, was auch nicht passt. Andere Möglichkeit wäre zum Beispiel Ace und June. Ich auch nicht so unbedingt das Wahre. Da gehen wir weiter. The room went very quiet. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were blank.
Come to think of it,
Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to the room around him.
what is this room?
The walls were covered with candles. The wavering flame made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look as though they were dancing. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room.
It looks like it's set up for some kind of ceremony. But what kind?
Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. The carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet,
Is that an altar?
it was a recessed space set into the wall between the 2 other doors. Sitting on a raised section of the altar was a coffin. A coffin? Coffin.
A coffin? No, it couldn't possibly be.
But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin for the time being. At that moment, 7 spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced.
Okay, I give up. I give up. I figured if we sat around here long enough, someone would volunteer. But I guess nobody's got the guts to do it.
What are you talking about?
Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one.
What? You guys didn't figure it out yet?
Wh-
Fine, let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right with her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it! Let me just write it out.
7 snatched up the notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look.
If you're trying to leave with a group of 3 and a group of 4 and get everybody out, Clover's right. But there's another way. Only one combination, though. If you split us up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination.
Ich hab gesagt, 7 sind zu viel, aber hat er auch gemerkt.
Wait, this means...
Don't get me wrong here, I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if he hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'd still be saying the same thing.
The same thing? Are you saying?
Yeah. I'll stay behind.
Why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden? Are you some kind of idiot?
Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered.
No, I'm completely against this. I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna have to owe you for getting out of here.
The rest of them began to speak all at once.
I'm against it too. I didn't want to leave Ace behind, and I don't want to leave you either.
I don't like that idea. There's gotta be other options.
I disagree as well. I can't say I care much for you being the hero.
Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven, Entschuldigung. So. Meine Zunge ist gerade ein bisschen durch den Wind, glaube ich.
Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's gotta be a better way than this.
Seven made some noise that was somewhere between a derisive snort and a cough.
Doesn't make any sense.
He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water at the corners of Seven's eyes. That was when Santa spoke.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet.
Until then, Junpei hadn't realized that Santa had stayed quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable.
Are you agreeing? You want to leave him here?
Santa shook his head.
Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here alone.
Then I don't see how it matters.
I said alone.
Huh?
I said I don't want to leave Seven alone.
There was a dull shine in Santa's eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver.
What the hell are you...
What? You don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including Seven. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No, those are my orders.
What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you?
You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice.
What?
3, 2, 1.
Santa was so fast Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance. His feet moving like lightning. He spun and... He had June.
See? I told you.
His lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile.
Huh? What?
A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze and he could feel his breath go stale in his lungs. Nothing made sense. Junpei felt as though his head were about to explode. Santa's sudden change in attitude, saying that he needed 2 more. The gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa had grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver roughly against her temple.
Why? What the hell is that?
Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? Junpei's question roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Wir wissen, woher er die Pistole hat, wir waren selbst schon mal in dem Raum. Da war er sogar dabei, das war glaube ich... Das war hinter dem Maschinenraum, glaube ich. Ja, in der Lagerhalle. Seven spoke, almost as though he had sensed Junpei's confusion.
The gun's from the other room.
What room?
One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was gonna do this. I should have taken the gun.
Well, it's too late now, fat ass.
Damn it!
A mixture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face, and he glared at Santa. Santa, for his part, didn't so much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then the smile faded and he began to move. He walked backward, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand on the scanner panel, quickly, and then forced June to do the same.
Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations! I've chosen you to come with me. Put your hands in the red.
3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 8 is 18. That was what Santa had meant when he said he needed 2 more.
Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order.
Santa's eyes narrowed to slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. They stayed frozen, like deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car.
Right, fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it.
No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched. And the gun roared. A section of the floor exploded, scattering wooden splinters across the floor. A thin plume of smoke snaked out of the hole in the floor. There could be no doubt that the gun was real and worked.
He really shot it? But why? Santa, why are you...
Clover's voice spoke of betrayal and disbelief.
Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends.
What?
You knew about the leaf words and the four-leaf clover.
Santa's cheek twitched, almost imperceptibly.
What the hell is that shit? I've got no idea.
You're lying.
Shut up! Just shut up! You stupid bitch! You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head?
Flecks of spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small.
Santa.
He snorted, then shook his head vigorously and turned to face Ace and Lotus.
Alright, assholes! What are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets! I don't have all day. Oh, what's the matter? Your hearing's starting to go? Going senile, maybe?
Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seemed as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes went wild and her chest heaved with every quick breath like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they going to do? Then he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate.
That's it.
June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa had commanded meant she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she would leave the ship alive, along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There was only one thing for Junpei to do.
It's the only way.
He turned to Ace and Lotus.
Please, go. Huh?
No way.
Jumpy, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're going to be stuck, Jumpy. And so will Clover and Seven.
I know. But you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Right, Seven?
Right. You just leave it to us. It's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says, but...
Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of.
No, you can't! Ace, Lotus, don't come over! Don't worry about me, please!
June was almost crying. Junpei walked across behind Ace and Lotus. Around June. He gently placed a hand on each of their shoulders.
Please.
And pushed them toward the door. They almost stumbled, then rightened themselves and took another step. And another. They turned around and Junpei nodded.
Go.
Oh, all right.
Fine.
Ace and Lotus turned around again and walked slowly toward the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, they stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled.
Alright, now let's get those hands on the scanner panel. What's the holdup? What? You think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. The red doesn't need a person, you know? All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner. I'm not gonna say it again.
He shoved the revolver hard against June's head and she winced.
Fine.
Ace sighed, defeated, and placed his hands on the scanner panel. His hand, der Worte nicht beide. Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand onto the scanner panel. The 4th asterisk blinked on.
Good job. Now, Lotus, pull that lever. As soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid, and you know what happens, right?
Damn it.
Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few.
Good! Go!
Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Santa waited until they all were until they were all the way inside, then hauled himself and June across the threshold as well. 6, 7, 8.
Later.
After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air it created caused the candles on the altar to flicker and die. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover and Seven had been left behind. Clover looked down at her hand and traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms into the front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for something, anything to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read engaged. He moved to the smaller door. The red read vacant.
God.
The digital root of the remaining people was 7. 5 plus 4 plus 7 is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. There was no possible way for them to open a door with 9 on it. Junpei touched the surface of the door.
June.
He thought about June, about Akane Kurashiki. Was she safe? That was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she had escaped this horrible boat. That was what Junpei prayed for. Seven came up next to him. He pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed.
So, what do you want to do, Junpei?
What do you mean, what do I want to do? What can we do?
Seven opened his mouth to respond when a noise echoed through the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and Seven looked at one another.
What the hell is that?
Shh, quiet!
Clover motioned to Seven to be quiet. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. The 3 of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from.
Where is it coming from? Could it be?
Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin.
You're right!
Let's open it.
But how?
What are those muscles for show?
You're telling me to force it open?
Just shut up and try!
Junpei and Seven grabbed hold of the coffin. They tried to get a good grip with what little purchase they could find, and pulled with all their strength.
Damn it!
It won't even budge.
There was some sort of keypad attached to the coffin. Its purpose would not have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it.
Not another one.
Yeah, looks like it.
Do you think we have to put in the right password or it won't open?
I think so.
The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder.
Whoever or whatever's inside this thing wants out, and now.
I know that. But how?
Without a passcode, I don't think there's much we can do.
They couldn't even tell how many numbers the passcode needed to be.
Isn't there a hint somewhere?
Well, let's look for one.
Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Clover ran to examine the pews, and Seven investigated the desk. They turned up nothing.
Ugh, there's nothing here.
Not making this easy, are they?
The sound still wouldn't stop. It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room.
What's the passcode? What am I supposed to do? How can we figure it out? I need something.
To be continued. Das möchte ich natürlich speichern. Und ich sag mal, wer eben bei der kurzen Sequenz aufgepasst hat, kann da tatsächlich einige Tipps finden. Jetzt haben wir halt das Coffin-Ende. Oder besser, The Three Left Behind. Und wir sehen, hier fehlt noch was. Wir kommen hier nicht weiter. Hierhinter passiert was. Und dafür müssen wir hier hin. Das mache ich aber nicht mehr in dieser Folge. Das heißt, beim nächsten Mal gehen wir den Pfad dieser roten Schlüssel nach, was wir da noch nicht hatten. Das heißt, glaube ich, die Gespräche, die man hier führen muss. Und dann geht es hier weiter zu einem anderen Ende, also zur Alternative zum Messerende. Ich sage schon wieder Messerende, dem Knife End. Und ja, das wird dann ein tatsächliches komplettes Ende im Gegensatz zum Coffin End. Aber wir wissen halt noch nicht, was es ist. Na gut, ich weiß es, ihr wisst es noch nicht. Aber was haltet ihr denn bisher von dieser Folge? Also, was heißt bisher? Die Folge geht jetzt zu Ende. Was haltet ihr davon? Dass Santa sich als so ein Arsch rausstellt. Ja. War er vielleicht der schuld an gewissen Morden war? Könnte man jetzt in Betracht ziehen bei dem, was er getan hat. Stellt sich mir nur die Frage, warum macht er das? Er wäre so oder so rausgekommen. Muss man sich einfach mal überlegen. Warum sagt er nicht einfach immer, ich muss gar keine Gewalt anwenden, ich gehe einfach mit und lasse Seven zurück. Passt doch. Warum macht er das? Aus purem Sadismus? Kontrollzwang? Können wir gerade nicht wissen. Nun, ich werde mal kurz hierhin springen. Einfach.
Long hallway, huh?
Warum ist das jetzt plötzlich mit Adventure Screen? Blödsinn. So, ach ja klar. Wir müssen so oder so erstmal hier das alles wieder einstellen. Darum kümmere ich mich in der nächsten Folge. Jetzt habe ich einfach nur einen Punkt, an dem ich gesprungen bin. Das passt. Dass ich an dem jetzt speichere. Und ja, damit beende ich diese Folge. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Theorien, Meinungen etc. in die Kommentare. Wir wissen jetzt inzwischen mehr. Und zumindest gibt es eine relativ offensichtliche Vermutung, wer oder was in diesem Sarg stecken könnte. Könnt ihr auch überlegen, wer ist das? Oder was? Aber nun, bis zum nächsten Mal. Däumchen, wenn es euch gefallen hat. Natürlich in die richtige Richtung. Und dann kommt nächste Folge die Vorbereitung für das nächste Ende. Dann die Folge darauf, wahrscheinlich eine sehr, sehr lange Folge. Das, ich sag mal, vorwahre Ende. Und dann kommt in der Folge darauf wahrscheinlich eine noch längere Folge. Dann das wahre Ende dieses Spiels. Also, wenn ich jetzt nicht doch zwischenzeitlich sage, das wird mir mit den Enden zu lang und die Folgen werden zu lang, werden es jetzt halt noch 3 Folgen. Ansonsten kann es auch sein, dass noch ein paar mehr werden. Ich muss mich dann entscheiden, wenn ich es aufnehme. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Cheerio.